Hey!
Hey y'all, and welcome back to First Gen Law Pod. My name is Atty Wonkwo, and I'm your host. This is a podcast for first generation lawyers, law students, and those thinking of going to law school to see how other attorneys have navigated the legal profession without a network and are still thriving. And on today's episode, I'm really excited about our guest. Actually, this is a first gen first. As you can see, I'm not in my normal studio back in Houston. I made the journey to Dallas, Texas to speak in person with an attorney that I have admired for quite some time. She's actually based here in Dallas, and she is a managing attorney at Ademola Aliu law firm, also known as AALF. Woo woo. But I really appreciate her for responding to my crazy DMs, because that's how I get my guests. Please help me welcome Christy Ademola Aliu.
Hi!
Hi! Did I get that right?
Yes, Ademola Aliu.
All right, I hate when people get my name wrong, so definitely share your fame. But thank you so much for meeting with me, for your patience and working together and getting all this coordinated. I'm really excited to be my first guest on the road. So
I'm excited to be here.
And we are coordinating. I think it was meant to be from top to bottom.
Right?
This is definitely not planned, first gen. So, but thank you once again for being on the podcast. Part of why I really wanted to reach out to you, especially now in this season, it's still in the summer season, but your tagline really stuck out to me. It's balancing law, faith, and the journey of life. Yeah. And right now, that seems like everything that I'm doing right now is balancing law and my life and this journey. But also want to discuss your journey for others out there who may not know it. So for our guests who don't follow you on Instagram yet, could you please give us a little background about how you became an attorney?
Yes, I would love to. So hi y'all, my name is Christy Ademola Aliu. I am the managing attorney at Ademola Aliu Law Firm, which is a personal injury law firm. Ademola Aliu fights for you.
Okay, I like a tag, I like a plug.
A little bit about me. I started this journey of law, and my journey was so rocky, and I went through a lot of things both in law school and as a brand new attorney that I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want anyone to have to go through this. And if I was a big sister to someone, I would definitely want them to know certain information going into it, especially how to balance law and life. One of the things that I've noticed just being first gen is that we have a lot of pressure. We were talking about it earlier, but we have a lot of pressure as first gen people, and so there's a lot of pressure to perform, to be perfect, to just go for it. And how do we balance? And so my whole platform with Legally Christy Law and Life is all about balancing law and life, because we all have lives to live.
Absolutely. So another thing that stuck out to me in your tagline was balancing faith. And I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but I know personally I've had a hard time with balancing my faith and my legal journey and life. And it just recently, I don't know, I didn't have an epiphany, but it just became clear to me that like a lot of things weren't aligning a lot the way I wanted to in my legal journey. And I think it's probably primarily because I have put my faith to the backside. And so now I am being more cognizant of balancing my faith journey. And that's another thing that stuck out in your profiles, because you are not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not shy about your faith. You're a self-proclaimed Jesus girly, which I love. So can you talk about like how you incorporate or how you put faith first in your journey as an attorney?
Yes. Okay. So this is such a good question, because honestly, when I got into law school, I was following Jesus, but somewhere along the way, with all of the pressure, I kind of just lost it, and I got lost in Houston. I do blame Houston for this.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know what it is with Houston, but okay, I'm gonna let you sit back. I'm gonna sit back. But don't talk about my city now. We are in Dallas.
But yeah, I honestly just got lost in like life and lifestyle, and just it was a mess. And I even though I was in law school and I was, really putting in the effort into my work, I just felt completely broken on the inside. And I think when I was studying for the bar exam, if y'all don't know, I failed the bar exam 3 times. So it was quite a journey in order to become a lawyer. But during that process, I was just so broken. And it was during that time that I realized, like, I cannot put my identity, I cannot put my hope, my trust, my faith in this law career, because at any second it can be taken from you. Absolutely. I mean, hopefully not, right? Hopefully we do things to, you know, follow the ethics and all the good stuff or whatever. But at any time, you know, you need something that's stronger than yourself to lean on, especially in the hard times, but also in the good times. And my faith has just been an anchor, you know, after law school, finding my relationship with Jesus again and everything. And so, yeah.
I really appreciate that and being candid, because like you said, as attorneys, sometimes we tend to idolize the title and not put more emphasis on who we're serving and who we're following. Yeah. And so, you know, a little bit about me, you know, my journey hasn't always been straight as well with as an attorney. And so following Jesus and putting him primarily back in my center has helped me to focus and realize that I don't need to idolize a career, but at the same time, I need to remember who I'm serving and who God has put me into this world for.
Come on, girl.
Oh, am I preaching?
I love that, honestly.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I love it.
Okay, but back to the topic about living intentionally. Okay. So here at First Gen Law Pod, we have what's called the 5 W's. Okay. The who, what, when, where, and why. Okay. And the last couple of seasons, we kind of like touched on it a little briefly for each topic or for each guest. But this season, I wanted to do something a little different and expand like the 5 W's to actually get to know someone. And so the first W is the who, and going back to our discussion on faith and identity, who influenced you in your understanding of becoming an attorney?
Ooh, okay, so y'all, when I was around 5, between the ages of 3 and 5, I just had this sense of justice, and people around me noticed it, and so they were like, you talk a lot. Which honestly, they should have checked me for ADHD, but what they said instead was I should be a lawyer. And so I just had different people, you know, say that to me. But I was very, how do I say this? Obstinate about the fact that I was not going to be a lawyer. In fact, really? I was going to do something else with my life. I was going to be a psychologist. Okay. So I went to school for psychology, and halfway through, like, I had a one-on-one with Jesus because I realized I had never asked him what to do with my life. And he was like, no, you're actually supposed to be a lawyer. So I was like, okay, great. So I changed my major to English, did English as, I already said that. Anyways, I changed my major to English, and yeah, I just had a sense of like this justice warrior rose up in me, and I was like, we're gonna fight for justice.
Like, did you have anybody who helped you discover that, or was it just internal? Like, you felt like this sense of justice that needed to be served?
I believe that I had a number of people, but I'll give you one particular instance. In college, I interned with this attorney. And I went to Baylor University, which is a small little, you know, town in Waco, Texas. Yeah. And the attorney that I interned for, he was a black man. He was a criminal defense attorney in a small little white town. And he just had so much wisdom. And I told him, I was like, I want to fight for justice. And he was like, you don't have to fight with a gun. You can use your pen. And he's like, that saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. He's like, you can do that. So in law, you are putting yourself in a place to fight for justice, even though it's not with, you know, pitchforks and knives.
I mean, we are in Texas. Some people actually prefer to use guns.
I am passionate about first generation women and black women, especially getting into law school. Right now, as we know the statistic, there are only 2% of all attorneys in the U.S. Only 2% of all attorneys in the U.S. are black women.
Here we are, and we're the 2%.
Here are the 2 of us, right? So imagine a room where we are here, and there's 98 other people, and they're not black women. It's just, you cannot have justice without a fair representation of everyone who needs to be in the room. And so I'm very passionate about first generation women too, because I've seen you know, people have asked me questions, and questions I wish I had known before I went to law school. And a lot of it is information that unfortunately is gatekept because people don't have attorneys in their family. People don't have other people that they can go and ask questions about the law school admissions process, about what it's like to be an attorney. And so I'm passionate about those two people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it like that. If I was in a room full of 98 people and only 2 of them, one person looked like me, like that's crazy. But unfortunately, that's
the reality.
That's the reality of the legal profession. Going back to the next, or that which leads us into the next W, the what, which is defining like intentional living. The topic is how do we live intentionally with balancing your life and balancing your faith. Like I said, I was drawn to your page because you did some of the things I like going to TJ Maxx, sipping some Starbucks, and putting on makeup, just doing mundane things.
Right.
What do you think intentionally living means to you?
Yeah. So for me, intentional living means you're able to do the things you love while having a serious career. I think a lot of women get into law and they realize 1 to 2 years later, whether they get married or have kids or their life season just changes, and they're like, wait, I don't think this is sustainable. And so I want to show that it's possible to live your life with the little things like, having a little shopping trip, getting a little Starbucks, getting a little matcha. I love me some matcha. So I want to show that being intentional really means just setting aside time for yourself and setting aside time for the things that you love, for creativity, for pouring back into yourself before you pour to other people.
I think that's actually makes a lot of sense, because sometimes we feel like, or at least I can speak for myself, I feel like if I remember to, get like coffee for myself, that it's a win. But being intentional it's a daily process of deciding, okay, I'm going to do this for myself after I've served my clients, or even before I serve my clients. I need to start my day off by doing XYZ to make sure that I am the best version of myself for not only myself, but the people that trust me with their lives and with their issues. Can you also tell me, what do people, I'm sure like living your life intentionally comes with a lot of misunderstandings.
The thing with entrepreneurship and the law is that you are likely going to be misunderstood. People are not going to get, if she's a lawyer, why is she on TikTok? If she's a lawyer, why does she have a business? But the truth is that as humans, we are multifaceted. We can do a ton of different things. You can be yourself in this profession, and that's very important.
Absolutely. So that brings us to the next W, which is the when. You talked about starting your law firm, and you kind of hinted at it a little bit. But when you did first seriously considering opening your law firm, was it something that like just clicked, or it's something that you've been like mulling over for quite some time?
Oh, good question. So it came to my mind, I think, when I first got licensed. I was like, I should start a law firm. That would be so cool. I was playing with names of the law firm already. I was trying to figure out what name was going to go best where. But I kind of put on the back burner because I wanted to get the skills. I was like, I feel like I kind of need to be under someone, get the skills that I need in order to figure out how to even build business, figure out how to be an attorney, really. And so I decided to do that first before I opened the firm. But I would say that I think about maybe after my 16th trial, I don't know, something just went off in my brain. The Holy Spirit was like, it's time, girl. It's time to do this. Just take the leap of faith. You can do this. And I was like, can I do this? And I talked to people, I tried to figure out like what other people thought about where my skill level was. And I was like, yeah, we're good. We can do this. So yeah.
And that going back to what you're saying about balancing faith, the Holy Spirit imparted on you to start your own firm. I think that's amazing, because sometimes we don't even know what we have in us until we have that voice, or we have that that extra push to tell us that we can make that leap. So kudos to you for listening to the Holy Spirit. When you did find when you did finally transition into owning your own law firm.
Yeah.
Did you find it difficult to maintain that balance professionally and your personal life, or was it something that you had already like built up, like your skills with being an attorney?
I love this question, and here's why. So, being your own law firm owner is a different set of stressors, but the difference is that you're building for yourself and not for someone else. So
Sorry, you gotta preach up here. I felt that in my spirit. I was like,
I'm just saying, girl, let me tell you, it's different. It's different. So with being in a law firm, I was stressed. Cortisol levels through the roof. I was stressed. If I go back and look at some of my pictures, like my face is like bloated. Like I just look so unhealthy because I was under so much pressure all the time. Did I learn? Yes. Did I grow exponentially in an area where I, probably wouldn't have grown as fast? I probably wouldn't have done 16 trials within the first couple of years of being a lawyer. Absolutely, I did. And so I can't ever knock that or take away from it. Absolutely. I'm very grateful for my experiences. But when I started my own law firm, instead of being stressed about the work, now it's like, okay, you have a baby, you have a baby business. You got to take care of it. You got to feed it. You got to find clients. You have to meet with medical providers. So now you're using the skills that you've learned while you're working in a law firm, being a part of bar associations, networking. You're using those skills now for yourself. You're building something for yourself. So I would say the first couple of years, I'm only in my first year of practice. I'm only in my first year of the law firm. And so I think just for where I am right now, I've seen so much growth in myself, and also I've seen so much growth in myself, but the stresses are just different. I'm not stressed out like I was when I was working for a firm. I have the privilege, I would say, of seeing something built from scratch and seeing what God can do with a little bit of faith. Mm-hmm. Because let me tell you, when he said, oh, quit your job, I was like, yay! But I heard that. Let me tell you, I heard that. But when I started, then I was like, wait, hold on. Can I swim? I don't know. Like, I felt like Peter jumping out the boat. Like, I don't know if I can actually make it. And, it took a few months, but after a while I was like, okay, I got a client. Yay, I can do this. And I saw myself go from start to finish with a client and, get that settlement check. And let me tell you, it's just, it was so different whenever it's for you and it's for your lineage, your legacy, your family. It's beautiful. And I get to use my creativity, which is huge for me. I am more of a creative than I am a super logical thinker. So starting social media, trying to figure out what my messaging is, my branding, all the fun little things like, putting together events, putting together speaking engagements, all these things. There's so much more like in line with my personality. I would say visionary, entrepreneurship, that kind of thing. And so I love it. I don't know what the question was, but I love it. I love all of it.
I love how you're able to answer all these questions and still tie it back to your faith. Why is living intentionally worth the effort, even if life feels busy and chaotic?
Yeah, I think this goes back to purpose, right? If we do all these things, we build up all of this, again, money, real estate, blah, blah, blah. When we stand before God at the end of the day, it's going to be a question of like, that's great, you got a lot of money, cute Chanel bag, but did you do what I called you to do on this earth? Did you fulfill purpose, right? And how do you fulfill purpose? You align yourself with the will of God in every stage and every season of your life. That might look like you ask God, am I in the right area of practice? What area of practice should I be practicing? Should I even go to law school? Do I go to this law firm or that law firm? What state am I living in? You're asking him the questions, and it's the small things and the small steps of obedience that align you with purpose throughout your life, right? And then, so to me, that is the most important thing. When you're thinking about living intentionally, I want to think with the end in mind. What is it going to look like 60 years from now, right? when I have all this stuff? Will I have made the necessary impact on people's lives? Will I have it impacted people? You know, they always say, like, this is kind of morbid, sorry, but they always say, like, you know, on your tombstone, you have this number, the number you were born, the day you were born, and the year whenever, you know, you pass.
The year you're born, year that you pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in
what
the
is that
middle,
dash gonna mean?
what is that dash gonna Girl, I'm trying to be serious.
So trite.
It's
Sorry.
true, but it's so true. And for me, I want to know that I lived my life. I didn't spend, you know, all of my time working, that I lived with balance, I lived with intentionality. I tried to pour into my community. I tried to pour into my family. I built something, legacy.
Why is living intentionally worth the effort, even if life feels busy and chaotic?
Yeah, I think this goes back to purpose, right? If we do all these things, we build up all of this, again, money, real estate, blah, blah, blah. When we stand before God at the end of the day, it's going to be a question of like, that's great, you got a lot of money, cute Chanel bag, but did you do what I called you to do on this earth? Did you fulfill purpose, right? And how do you fulfill purpose? You align yourself with the will of God in every stage and every season of your life. So that might look like you ask God, am I in the right area of practice? What area of practice should I be practicing? Should I even go to law school? Do I, you know, go to this law firm or that law firm? What state am I living in? You're asking him the questions, and it's the small things and the small steps of obedience that align you with purpose throughout your life, right? And then, so that's
awesome. I feel like running out of here and screaming. that really did hit me, honestly, because purpose is so important. And I think as attorneys, as first generation attorneys, we lose sight of that purpose initially, because part of the journey is just finishing law school, just passing the bar. And then when you become an attorney is feeling competent and confident in your role. And so I really appreciate you highlighting how, when it's all said and done, that our purpose is what's going to outlast any academic or any, you know, financial achievement that we quote unquote set for ourselves.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being candid, and I really appreciate your patience. Thank you so much, Christy, for taking the time to come out with me and be my first guest on the road. But before I let you go, we have a motto here at First Gen Law Pod.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't know if you heard, but the motto is, you may be the first, but you won't be the last. And that's basically saying that, you know, even though you may be the first in your family or in your cohort or your network to go to law school, your journey is not singular, and other people are coming behind you and they're looking up to you to lead the path. Yeah. But I also like to get my guests' rendition or their remix, if you will, of that motto. So if you could tell young Christy, or even future Christies out there that are looking up to you and listening to this podcast, you may be the first, but how would you complete that sentence?
I had something, I wrote it down. You may be the first, build something that will last.
I love it. Build something that will last. Oh my goodness. Drop the mic, drop the everything. I love it. Christy, thank you so much for joining First Gen Law Pod. I really appreciate your candid and your bubbly nature. For those who want to connect with you outside of this podcast, where can they meet you?
Hi, so you can connect with me on Legally Christy on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. as well as if you're interested in going to law school, but you're first generation, maybe you don't know what the next step is or where to start, you can also connect with me on school, aspirelegalcommunity.com, aspirelegalcommunity.com, or on school, we are also Aspire Legal Community. If you have been injured in an accident, Ademola Aliu will fight for you. So definitely contact us. We are, again, on every platform, and you can visit us at our website at ademola.aliulawfirm.com. We'll put the spelling below.
Okay, I'll put everything in the podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm hitting the road back on. Who knows? I might start doing this, going to another city. So thank you for encouraging me. And we'll talk to you later. First Gen Law. Bye.